Well, hello there, and thanks for joining us on Beating the Odds podcast, A Hidden Star. And we're joined today by Debbie Sutton and her son Troy, and they've got this incredible inspirational story to tell about their story and their company that they've built and the change that they're able to make. And so, Debbie and Troy, thanks for coming and welcome to Beating the Odds.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Mike. Great to be here.
Well, we aspire to lift up and support women and minority entrepreneurs, and this is a great story, and we wanted everybody to hear it. And later on, we'll put the website and all of that. But the name of the company is the Healing Bras, and well, I am the proud husband of a breast cancer survivor. And she has authorized me to say thank you to you for all that you do for them. She's excited to see this. She's very thankful for what you guys are doing. So before we get to the company and all that you guys are doing right now, can you tell us your upbringing, your background, education, where'd you grow up, and just all of that?
Sure. Well, I'm a Jersey girl through and through.
What exit?
Exactly. I lived in a few different places in New Jersey, and I still love New Jersey, always. So my background is, let's see, I had initially started with fashion design and art, and those were my passions, and then I segued into business, and I worked on Wall Street, and then I did lots of different jobs as a young woman. And then I joined my family in a business that my dad thought I'd be perfect for, and I think I was warehousing and distribution of commodities in Port Newark, New Jersey, and we specialized with coffee beans, cocoa, and spices. So my father had some interest in that business, as he was a transportation trucking company for another company who went Chapter 11, and then wanted to start this business on his own with my brother, and thought it would be a great fit for me. And I went in and I helped to build the business exponentially, from a small little warehouse to 1 million square feet at one time. So yeah, it was, I am proud of my work there, and I was the only woman really in that industry at the time, and I think that kind of helped my sales pitches, because we were really the warehousing and distribution for the commodity brokers. A lot of them were in New York City at the time, and they would do the importing and we would do all the rest.
So you come from a family of entrepreneurs.
Well, I'd like to think so. I've dabbled also myself with a few things over the years. After that business, and my brother and I left that business, and I was fortunate enough to be able to stay home for a little while and have two of my guys. This is one of them. The other one is older. Like I said, I was able to stay home for a while and really focus my attention and devotion to them, and I loved that. And then as they got older, I was very involved in their schooling and arts again, the Arts Council and running all of that. So that really made me so happy to be able to do that and do volunteer work with the schools and collaborating with them. So great. Yeah, that's what I did.
Well, Troy, no pressure, but you're now the third generation in an entrepreneur family. It seems like you're taking it right in stride. So this business, you tell us about the company, the background and how you got here, and the idea, and then the product and the evolution and where you are today versus where you started out. And
Sure. I'll be honest with you. We were not planning this. This was something that just came from nowhere, actually. One day I had my annual mammogram, and it was not that any are pleasant, but this one in particular was quite irritating and painful for me. So I was a bit cranky, if I'm being totally honest. And when I got home and all my guys were strewn about on the sofa watching a game, and I sort of walked in and still cranky a little bit. And thankfully, Troy, he asked me how it went and how was your test, Mom? And not to give the expletives on this show, but I said, it blankety blanked. And he didn't understand why. He thought maybe it was a bad scan or whatever. And I said, no, I think I'm fine. But I just said, if you had to put it on the table and get it squished and squashed and turned and pulled, and they started squirming and whatnot. And I said, you would never go back to have this done again. But we as women, we have to do this every year. We encourage women to get their mammograms and testing.
yeah.
And he said, but Mom, don't they give you anything, like to help with, ease, your discomfort? And I said, no, of course they don't. And he said, well, I'm going to look and see if there's anything like that. And he did. And he found nothing, except I'll let him tell you the things he found, which were just bizarre and dumb. And he said, well, I think I'm going to invent something. And sure enough, that's what he did. So I'm so proud of him and how far we've come so far. And I'll let you, Troy, tell a little bit about the process of inventing the bra with the pads and what's inside them and all of that good stuff.
Thank you. So when we were doing market research to see what products were available for breast health, we realized that there were only big shoulder pad clunky devices or just a gel pack which had sharp plastic edges, or you still had to wrap in a paper towel or a napkin to prevent freezer burn or ice burn. So we recognized that there was a significant gap in a breast device that would help relieve any pain or discomfort. And from my perspective, I was a biomedical engineer because I wanted to design prosthetics for war vets to play sports. And I was also a catcher for baseball in college. And so after practice, I would lay on the ground with all the blue gel ice packs that we all have in the freezer.
Yeah.
So I assumed a similar product like that existed for breasts. But we couldn't really find anything that was conducive for that part of the body for women. And so we were able to connect with an FDA regulated manufacturer in New Jersey, which is where we now manufacture the healing pads. And we were able to design the healing pads by partnering with a certified breast prosthetic fitter who donated the mold that she would use for her clients who needed a breast prosthesis. And we were able to integrate the gel, that blue gel pack, to this mold in order to create a healing pad which can either be warmed in the microwave or cooled in the freezer and then worn with any bra to help relieve breast pain and discomfort.
And that's how it happened.
I'm the husband of a breast cancer survivor, and so thank you for all the work you're doing to help that whole community. But this isn't just about breast cancer. This is for the uninitiated. Can you kind of walk us through all of the things that this pad and the healing bras is designed to help with?
Yes, absolutely. The healing bra and the healing pads specifically are for all women of all ages, from the youngest gals with monthly pain, with menstrual cycles and breast pain, to women who are pregnant and their breasts are changing exponentially, and then hopefully they're breastfeeding, which we encourage very much, but that can be a difficult task sometimes, and mastitis can happen, and that's quite painful and could really, get a woman very depressed and negative about continuing, but we want them to continue. And then also with milk ducts and flow and all of that of breast milk. And then we go into the whole surgical group of whether it's elective surgery, cosmetic surgery, and then on to the much more serious breast cancer surgeries. So, and then I'll just jump right to another segment, which is menopausal women who are having hot flashes, and these are great for that as well. So since they can be warmed in the microwave or chilled in the freezer, you can get cooling therapy or warming therapy.
The same pad can be heated or cooled?
Yes, the same pad. Most women will have two sets, and one can be in the freezer and one can just be with them if they want to warm it. And it's just really great. I've used it myself, my daughter-in-law uses it, and my friends use it. And we're all different ages, obviously, and we really like its therapy. Can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it, but nursing women, my wife, when our kids were young, she was throwing stuff at my head. The pain was just horrific. You got to go through it. But I imagine this would be unbelievably helpful for any range of issues there. So, yeah, that's awesome. So how long ago did you guys start the healing bras?
Okay.
So, we are proud to say that last Friday was our 1 year anniversary. So,
Yay!
1 year since officially launching the company, which we are very proud of. One thing as entrepreneurs, which we've learned along the way, is to celebrate the wins and the milestones, and this is certainly one of them. We have done an incredible job, my mom and I, of laying the foundation for this business. So thank you for putting your arms up in the air for those who didn't see, because that was a big win for us. So we're excited to continue on the momentum that we built. And Before we officially launched, we did about 2.5 years of prototype development and market research. I had a corporate job in New York City at Blackstone. So, this was a side idea, and this was our dream. And then it was an idea, and then it was a prototype in the prototype phase. So we were kind of working on this business on the side. And we had a conversation. My mom was really leading and doing all the work, and it wasn't possible for one person to do all of it. So I quit my job, I moved back home, and my mom and I have been doing this now for the year, as I mentioned. And I will say that during our prototype and our research development phase, we donated all of the pads that we had to the partnerships with the different foundations and the hospitals and medical practices that we've partnered with, because we wanted real feedback from women other than my mom and her friends and family. And so that is a great component of this pad, is that it's designed by women for women. Like I mentioned before, with the female certified breast prosthetic fitter, and then the hundreds and hundreds of women who were affiliated with the breast cancer foundations or the baby foundations. So that's really something that we're very proud of as well, is that the feedback was from real women who were experiencing breast pain and discomfort daily or weekly, and the feedback was directly from them. And I do want to say real quick, and this kind of taps into me as a man, right? These pads aren't for me. And they're not for you, right? They're for the women. And so something that I'm trying to do is make it less taboo for men to understand why women are experiencing breast pain and discomfort. And I just want to say congratulations to your wife on being a breast cancer survivor. I've learned so much and just how prevalent breast health is. So to hear another survivor story is truly incredible. And that's what inspires us to keep us on our mission. So congratulations to her. And then just to tie it full circle, you understand why she experienced breast pain. You understand the mammogram process, from that, and then also with breastfeeding. She threw a loaf of bread at you, or what she threw at you, right? So you understand, but a lot of men don't, from what we've learned, right, over the last year. So a big part of our business is the educational component.
No question about it. I saw, I say it all the time, it sounds gratuitous, and it's not. It's really, really cool to be married to your best friend and your hero. And so she got up every day and went to war against breast cancer, and she kicked ass.
That's awesome.
And
congrats to her. Yes.
Importantly, she set an incredible example for our two daughters.
Oh,
right.
Okay,
and
great.
So if something bad happens to them in the future, they've seen how this works. So but speaking on behalf of all men who are just generally clueless about this stuff, any opportunity to expand our understanding of how that stuff works, because we're not very bright about that stuff. I'm sure we're great at other stuff, I just don't know what it might be. But it's really, really fascinating. So, all right, so you go through 2.5 years of product design, development, iteration, all of those things. You launched, and you're commercially available. You launched a year ago?
Yes, that's correct.
How did you pick a manufacturer, a supplier? What does the supply chain look like? Is it China or is it New Jersey? Can you just talk us through how, because it's a continuum to, I had an idea in the shower, to I have a profitable company, right?
Yes. And the span between those 2 points is very difficult, I might add. It's not an easy task to bring something to market and have it be successful. I have to say that it's been kismet, if you will. A lot of the things that have happened, like, for example, Troy just happened to be in California for a friend's wedding and started talking about this idea that he had. And it turned out that the friend's father had a bra manufacturer who was his best friend from childhood in New Jersey.
Get out.
Yes, and so that is how we found our guys.
That's a God thing, I'm telling you.
Yes, it's true. And then also, Troy was at an event one night, and he met this wonderful woman, Anna Krill, who is the chair of Caring and Sharing, and it's one of the first breast cancer foundations that were available, and she was just amazing. She loves the product so much, and her story is incredible. She's a 2-time breast cancer survivor, and then she became a prosthetic fitter, and she was very instrumental back in, I guess it was in the Clinton era, that she was down in Washington lobbying to get breast cancer awareness and get the word breast cancer on the lips and in the minds of so many. So she was just really very, very instrumental in this whole process for all of us. And we're so proud to be partnering with her. And then just many other things like that have happened to us. So we do try to volunteer with as many organizations as we can, whether it's breast cancer awareness or survivorship, or there's another one which is the Young Survivors Coalition, because we've learned that so many more females are getting diagnosed with breast cancer earlier and earlier, like under 40 and even under 30. And so there's a lot of focus going towards that. And all of this focus and research takes a lot of funding, as you can imagine. So we're just proud to be part of this and spreading the word.
So Troy serendipitously runs into a guy who knows a guy who makes bras in New Jersey, right down the street from you guys. So you go to that guy and you say, hey, we need to get some stuff made, and we went to the prototype stage and all that. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, absolutely. We knew the general shape, right, because we had the mold from the certified breast prosthesis, and we knew the type of material and the ingredients of the gel that we wanted to insert. So we were able to develop the first generation.
Right.
And then from the feedback after donating all of those pads to a variety of women of all different ages and demographics and backgrounds, we were able to refine and improve the product. And that included the material of the outer side. So it's made with the medical grade cotton-like material. So we adjusted that over time. The quantity of gel inside. So it's a lot of like teetering, right, with the actual product, finding it in order to really make it the best that we can. Also the flexibility of the pad, so that way a woman could insert it while she was wearing any bra. So it's like the accessibility was very important as well. What's key with accessibility and being in physical movement is that sometimes women don't have full flexibility if they are recovering from surgery, or if they have a specific bandage or a post-surgical bra that they're wearing, they might not be able to move their arms. And so, being able to offer something that can help relieve pain and discomfort and aid their recovery process and not hinder it is very important.
This is jumping way ahead. Have you gotten this covered by insurance as a prescribed item to doctors and patients?
Well, that's first and foremost on our minds right now, and that's what we're working on, to get it covered by insurance, at least partially. We're applying to all of that. There's a lot of paperwork, as you can imagine. But to be truthful, the pads are quite reasonable in price compared to prosthesis. We work with a couple of different prosthetic bra fitters. Those can be hundreds and hundreds of dollars for one, where ours are like $40 for the pair. So we'll see. We're working on it with the insurance, and we do hope that it comes through, because that would enable us to, work more closely with doctors and hospitals.
So you find, to jump back, sorry about that. So you found somebody that'll work through the iterations and manufacture. So are you manufacturing at that place in New Jersey?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's an FDA regulated facility. So that's where the pads are able to be assembled and packaged. And then my mom and I are fulfilling orders ourselves, which is very exciting to be able to do this. We like to joke and just say that we're like Steve Jobs, except instead of computers, we are, we're selling pads and bras from our house.
So you started batch manufacturing, right, a year ago. So what outlets do you guys sell through? How much of it is online and how much of it is kind of the physical ecosystem?
So right now we're selling exclusively online. We are not currently working with any large medical device providers, so to speak. We have partnered with different hospitals, medical practices, foundations, bra boutiques. Those organizations provide the pads to their clients and patients. So that is definitely the commercial side of it, but we also solely provide the pads on our website to women who are looking to buy a single pair or a couple pairs for themselves, or gift it to a friend or a family member as well.
Okay, so now you're out there and you're selling these, and it's primarily on the website. Are you also selling on Amazon?
No, we're not on Amazon or Etsy or eBay. No other stores. We're only on our own website, thehealingbras.com. Eventually, the plan is to offer these pads on Amazon to start, and then we also are jumping into year 2 right now. We're looking to expand our distribution channels by partnering with more medical device providers, bra boutiques, hospitals, etc.
Are you seeing any, because if they're all done online right now, you're able to get a look into who's buying these things. Do you see any clinicians buying them now for their patients, or do they come with a referral, or is it just independent women across the country?
So I would say yes to all of those questions. We sell online, and we do welcome the purchasers to contact us and give us feedback. So some have been going through breast cancer, or some are new moms. So some are women in menopause. It's just funny. We have different stories about women who are putting ice cubes in their bra down in Florida, and things like that, and found out about the pads, and that's a wonderful solution for her. And also in terms of, are the clinicians buying, we're not really seeing clinicians purchasing through, because we are going personally into their offices,
Right.
and showing them, and then they would make an order with us directly.
Oh,
And
okay.
they can make a big order, and either they are buying them outright from us, and then however they want to give them or
Right.
sell them to their patients is up to them. So so we're doing all of that, and we just want to expand. I just might add, tonight Troy and I are going to an event, a dinner, that's a prelude to a big event that's being held down in Fort Lauderdale, which they do. It's another breast cancer foundation. It's Pink O, and it's a Pinko de Mayo party that they do every year, and they raise so much funding for that. And also, just going back, if you've ever heard, and they told 2 people, and they told 2 people, and they told 2 people,
Right.
that's sort of word of mouth how we're experiencing it also, because when they learned about us, they are connecting us now with University of Miami, and they have big foundation there where they just invest in anything that can help with women's health. So we're excited, but it's a lot of different moving parts all the time as we're trying to build this.
So is this a company that you had to go out and raise money for? Was it capital intensive at the beginning, or did you guys fund it yourselves?
So we have funded this business up until this point. That has come from my parents and myself. That what we have invested into this business. We did successfully complete a small Indiegogo crowdfunding round, which helped fund the shipping and handling of our current inventory right now. And with that being said, we are looking to pitch to angel investors. That is a top priority and goal for us here in year 2. We're actively seeking angel investors. We have some upcoming events. So if there's anybody in your community, right, or anybody listening who would be interested in this product, we absolutely would love to open a conversation regarding that, because as you mentioned, this is a capital intensive business when it comes to scaling the business by offering more products, the research that's involved with that, and then just the marketing,
advertising. So.
Exactly.
Just a range. How much are you looking for? $1 million, 10 million?
No, for right now,
That sounds great, actually.
the valuation is not $10 million, I will say, but we're looking for anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000 equity investment. We're looking for a strategic partner who can really help us scale. So we have had conversations regarding $500,000 investment, but ultimately that's up to whether it's an institution or an individual or through a fund. So we've been having those conversations, and it's definitely something that we've seen a lot of interest in. But like I mentioned, we're looking for a strategic partner who really is passionate about helping women, because that's the ultimate goal, is to help women during their recovery journey live their best life. And that's really what these pads do, is they empower the woman to go about her daily routine. You mentioned before, like there aren't many products like this on the market. Our true competitors are frozen bags of peas, chilled cabbage leaves, warm, damp towels if a
heating
woman
pad.
wants like a warming therapy or a heating pad. And there's no way that you can wear any of that with confidence and dignity
And
and
walk
go
around.
and walk around or run errands, do chores, go to work. Many women in our community bring the pads to their office or school if they're a teacher and are able to wear the pads, relieve their breast pain, and go about their daily routine and inspire them and empower them to move forward. And so that's really our goal, is just to help more women. And it's been truly incredible. And we're so honored for all that we've learned and the women that we've met.
So right now, as we sit here, you guys own the whole company.
Yes. Well, it's Mom's company. Yeah, I'm her sole employee. You asked before how many employees. It's me.
Here we are.
Have you put them on probation yet?
Not yet, not yet.
Yeah, I'm hitting my figures. Year one, right? We've done so much. Just speaking on behalf of everything, we have our patent and trademarks, website, several ambassadorships, including a 4-time Olympian who uses the pads after she jogs. She just sent another North American indoor record, and she had the pads with her in her track bag. So it's just been truly incredible, and I hope to keep hitting my quota every quarter.
Sometimes searching for small business funding can make you feel like a lone wolf in a vast galaxy of stars. But there is help. Apply for a Galaxy Grant, powered by Hidden Star. It's a 30-second application process, eligible for all women and minority business owners, and they are always 100% free to apply. So remember, you are not alone. We are here to help. Apply for a Galaxy Grant today at galaxyofstars.org.
You had a great idea. You didn't just sit around, you did something, which is the hardest part. It's the scariest part. So now you're manufacturing and you're selling, you're a real company, right? What's been the hardest thing so far that you guys have encountered? What is there something that you didn't anticipate, just that really surprised you, number one? And then what was the hardest thing other than employee relations?
Well, just jumping back to the funding, that is something that we are at a sort of a critical point, I would say now, where we really do need funding to catapult us to the next levels. I think that's a scary part, when you get to a certain point and then you're like, we've sort of run out of money. Troy, like he said before, he quit his job, so he's living with us, and as happy as we are to have him with us, I know he'd like to be up and running and earning a salary, I think, at some point. But so I think that's a little bit scary. I think it's scary for him, to give everything that he's got and to give up a lot in order to do this and make this really, really successful, which is our goal, of course. But we do celebrate the wins. We try to be really resilient and celebrate each little win. And it is very exciting. We see things happening. We would like it to go a little bit faster, but I think when we get some more funding, that's going to take off.
Yeah. So what's been the hardest thing so far?
The hardest thing has definitely been just trying to successfully connect with all the different healthcare networks with just the bandwidth that my mom and I can. We're wearing many hats, we're doing everything with the business, and the feedback has been so great, and so many networks and hospitals do want to connect with us, but it takes time just to get there in person, because they want to see and feel the pads in person. And so that has definitely been the most challenging aspect. For anyone who's worked in the healthcare network, know that there's a lot of bureaucracy and approvals needed. So it's just, kind of about climbing the ladder and getting all of the necessary approvals. That's why we are also working with much smaller offices like family-owned practices or radiology centers, because they're not as big whales, so to speak, from a sales perspective in the sales pipeline. So that's probably been the hardest challenge. But other than that, there's been, my mom and I are very resilient. So we're able to accept and learn from losses, so to speak, and always move forward and learn.
I heard a great thing a long time ago in the medical space, which is it's really hard to get the first order. Mm-hmm. But it's so much harder to get the second order. And yeah, I can get that. So now, if you had one thing to do differently, what would you do differently? Would you raise money at the beginning?
Not necessarily. No, I don't think we would raise money, because with what my family and I have invested into this, we've accomplished so much.
Right.
So with the funding that we had and what we had allocated for this, we have gone above and beyond what our initial accomplishments were set to be. So we're very excited for that. Really, an investment that we're looking for now is to help us scale to a global level. We're a national brand. We're partnered with organizations all over the country. So this next step includes going to that global level. So it's really to take that growth step with us. But I would say just constantly having conversations with so many different women as well is challenging to hear their stories, because the statistics say that 1 in 8 women are affected by breast cancer, but what we've learned is that it's really closer to 1 in 5. And breast cancer doesn't just affect the woman, but also her family, her friends, the caretakers, husband like yourself, right, in that position exactly. And, so it's every woman, every person that we've met over the last year has been affected by breast cancer, either personally, in their family, or their direct friend group. And so hearing those stories, it's really tough. But luckily, there's almost always a silver lining, right? Which, and a light at the end of the tunnel that women can hope for and strive to during their recovery journey. So that's definitely been, a very inspiring part of the business as well.
It's a great story. If you were given advice to one of our listeners who was thinking about starting a company because of some personal experience, they had an idea. If you were given one piece of advice, Debbie, what would it be?
Well, I think, just as an aside, we think of new ideas all the time, different inventions, if you will, just having that kind of a mind. I have a whole list of them that I'd love to get to at some point in my life. I would tell people that you really need to be passionate about your idea, because it will take hard work and dedication and a lot of time. It just doesn't happen overnight. And I'm really proud of Troy and the dedication he's shown, because we're working night and day and every day on this. And so that's what I would suggest, or just, really stress that, be ready, that you have to really give it 200%.
So as we sit here, the only way for somebody to buy your product is online. So it's, Troy, if you give us that URL again.
thehealingbras.com.
And bras is plural with an S, right?
That's correct. And that's our social media handle on all social media platforms as well. The Healing Bras, plural.
Oh, great. How much traction do you get on social media? It would seem like Instagram and TikTok would kind of be a natural.
Yeah, we're working very hard to post every day with our social media. And if anyone goes on to any of our sites, you'll see us. It'll be us. And, just talking about it, interviewing women. We have doctors on our platforms, clinicians, foundation chairs, and whatnot. We're all pushing for the same goal.
Yeah. I will say I'm very proud of my mom, who manages the Instagram and Facebook account, how well she has learned to use Instagram and Facebook. And for those who know, right, I'm a millennial, I'll admit, and my mom is not. And, she has absolutely reinvented herself by unretiring, right, to launch this business. And
this is an inspirational story. I mean, it's you had a good idea, you didn't sit on it, but this whole podcast, the Beating the Odds thing, is to make sure people don't think, because too many people do. The purpose of this podcast is to make sure people know how not rare it is to have successful women-owned and minority-owned businesses. There's 15 million of them right now today in America. And you're the next one, and it's awesome to talk to you, and it's inspirational, and we couldn't be any more thankful that you guys joined us. And so thank you again for joining us, and we'll check back from time to time to see how the progress is going.
Oh yes, please do. Thank you so much for having us. This was awesome, and our best regards to your wife as well.
Yeah,
and,
thank you very much.